I would say Freddie and the team really put an effort into making people feel welcome. Um, so there's a driver's briefing early on, but you have plenty of time to socialise as well. And he likes to point out ways that you can identify people who've done it before. So there are go-to people if you've got any questions. And that's a great conversation starter because you can always start with what made you come back and you can get talking about it. And especially if you're wearing, a green hat, for example, as a new Italian jobber, then someone who's wearing a black hat, which means they've done it before, would most likely try and strike up conversation with you and make you feel welcome. It is very much about the sociable side of things. I'm never the only woman on the job. There are lots of like-minded souls. So I've never felt in any way ill at ease by being female on the event. I feel comfortable in that environment anyway, I'll be honest. I think if you own the type of car that was in the original Italian Job movie or a modern derivation, you're probably more into it anyway. If you're not and you think it's a shopping trip, you might self-select out of it. It's very clearly a car event.
For people coming to the event for the first time, most people join the 2 or 3 day journey down as a group. That's part of the arrangements that can be made, so that even before the event starts, you've had 2 or 3 nights in hotels with the rest of the jobbers, getting to know them, getting to ask questions, and finding like-minded people, because we all have different approaches to life. So you, even on the way down, you tend to find groups starting to socialize together because they just get on.
But the days in Italy are have breakfast, start at your allotted time, there's an event of some description, you're following the road book, you're doing driving skills tests, that sort of thing. There's a visit to somewhere that might be motoring related or might not be. It might be to do with the predominant agriculture tourism of the area we're visiting, whether that's a beautiful vineyard or a balsamic vinegar place or something like that. In 2014, we went to a hydroelectric plant, which I'd never seen before, anything like that. There's always a good lunch, there's an afternoon event, and there's always a good dinner. So the days in Italy are busy but varied, and sometimes they are, I mean, it seems wrong to say money can't buy events because obviously you've paid your entry fee onto the Italian Job, but things that aren't necessarily open to the general public, like we've been on the historic banked oval circuit at Monza with the Italian Job, and you can't just pitch up and do that. Yes. So it is a combination. You do, obviously, to drive to Italy, you do have to spend a fair amount of time in the car, but your days in Italy are very varied with bits of driving naturally involved in it.
And while you're taking part in the event, there's often, as Annie said, following the road book, which is a navigational challenge. It's the driver and the co-driver working together. And there's always plenty of time. And we usually stop for a coffee on the way, if nothing else, because there's plenty of time. And that's part of the fun of just sampling a local roadside cafe or stopping for a gelato or whatever takes your fancy. As long as you get there in time, you're fine.
One year in Rome, we did a treasure hunt that was entirely on foot because it was nice to have an afternoon out of the car, and it's the best way to see Rome. So you do get time to do other things as well.
So when we were down quite a way south a couple of years ago, we and some other cars decided to go even further south in Italy, just so we could visit Vesuvius, which added to a longer drive on the way back to the hotel. But that was part of you're free to do what you want. You've identified, and then you go and look at the map. Oh, I really wanted to visit Vesuvius or Rimini, and then you just go off piste and you go and find an activity that fits with what you want to do in that afternoon. You could spend the evening there and have a meal elsewhere and not join the group. No one's surprised that happens, because it is your way of relaxing, decompressing, and join the people in the bar later on that evening if you want.
I still put driving the Formula One circuit at Monza in 2014 as one of my high points, because although it was technically a parade lap in Mini still feels like you're going for it. And we did fly down the back straight at Monza with a Cooper S screaming past me, and the driver had the biggest grin on his face. That will live in my memory for a very long time.
Yes.
One that you might not want to put on the video is one year we were staying at the Crowne Plaza in Rome, and somebody managed to acquire from the kitchen a large roll of cling film. And we went to town on a team's car and wrapped it up like a present for him.
One of the big scenes in the Italian Job is during the chase. They actually filmed it on the top of the Lingotto Fiat factory test track. It's an oval test track with severely banked ends. And in recent years, we've actually been able to drive our cars as a driving challenge on that test track. And going around that bank, you've got to go fast, and it's a test of your nerves. And that is good fun. Because it can go, you can barely stand up on it at the top of the road, because it is that sort of angle at the top. It is crazy, but good fun to drive on.
You can raise money in all sorts of ways for all sorts of charities, and you can have lots of fun in a Mini, but why wouldn't you do both together? But raising money is the point of the exercise. My Mini is covered in stickers from companies that support the cause, and they're generally people that we know that we've managed to tap up for that money. Other people do events in the run-up to driving the course, and they raise money that way. It's not easy, but it's well worth doing. So you keep plugging away at it.
Competition about between the jobbers about who raises the most, because that's the reason we all gather together. But it's a friendly enthusiasm, recognizing that we all bring to the job slightly different abilities and capabilities. Some people have a lot of business contacts, and therefore they can raise a lot more money through sponsorship on the car. And then others use just family and friends and small donations from contacts at work and in their social groups to raise that money. It's very much what you can bring to the party, as opposed to you got to hit the target.
It's not a lazy beach holiday. I would say it's an adventure holiday.
Yes.
In the same way that you might decide that you want to hike Machu Picchu, because then you come home with amazing memories, and you might call it a life-changing experience. You can raise money for charity all sorts of ways. But if you own a Mini, why wouldn't you want to drive it? And why wouldn't you want to drive it through the streets where Michael Caine took a classic Mini?
Yes.
It's just such fun.
Taking part is fun, and the number of people, when you take your Mini to another Mini event like the London to Brighton or other big Mini shows, and your car has just taken part in the Italian Job, so it's got the stickers on, or you're preparing for the next Italian Job, so you've got some other stickers on, getting people talk to you, ask you, what is the Italian Job about? Because almost every classic Mini owner says, yeah, I really want to do the Italian Job one day. And it's just getting them over that last step of the preparation. And you are spending up to 2 weeks with like-minded people. You all share that Mini enthusiasm. You talk Minis. You can argue about BMW versus classic. You can
favorite scenes of the film.
Yeah, you've just got a gold mine of things to talk about. And then you just come back. You may not have seen the same people, that group of people, for a whole year. Then on the next Italian Job, you're just catching up like old friends. I used to ride a motorbike, and that was my fun. It was just riding a motorbike as a commuter vehicle, and then stopped riding. And I had a few boring cars. I've never been a petrol head. I'm never going to take part in a conversation about, you know, particular modifications to a car. I'm not interested in that.
Is that Scarlet or Vermilion?
Yes. But I got Cooper S as my first Mini, and that was fun. And we decided to take part in the Italian job in that, and it kind of snowballed from there. I'm on my third BMW Mini, which is an electric, as my daily driver, and then we own these two Minis here as our classics. We don't have a problem. Well, we do have a problem. The driveway isn't big enough.
And Chris was on eBay looking at classic Minis because we'd decided to buy one. I think at that point, I knew that having fun in a car was back. It was something I'd done as a teenager, and it had never really left me. And I'd always kind of idly thought, I'd like to have a Mini one day again as a toy. And doing the Italian job actually encouraged us to make that a reality.